Chris Avina with American Outdoor News Podcast, and today we have some guests back again today from HuntPro. I got John and John. Guys, thanks for coming on, and I know you perfected a couple of things since we last spoke. That's very big, and it's the integration feature.
Yeah, Chris, we've spent the last 6 months really perfecting, how do you handle a property that's got multiple cameras, multiple camera types? You may have three, four different camera manufacturers. You're buying these things, as you find deals throughout the season.
Yep.
And so we've really perfected the capability for HuntPro to be able to pull from, cameras that can push through their application. They all have a mobile app. Some push through emails, some push through their own backend server APIs, and we've really spent the last 6 months getting to where we can now work with any major cell camera that's out on the market. And so, as a hunter, I now have the capability through HuntPro to have real-time data feeds coming from all of my cameras, regardless of manufacturer. No SD card uploads. I'm able to real-time look at what's happening on my property, everything from a hunting aspect to a security and poacher aspect. I'm able to see real time what's going on across all these different cameras.
Well, I know, some hunters are brand loyal and some just buy if they see something on sale, whether it be a Tacticam,
Absolutely.
a Spy Point, Spartan Cam. There's so many cameras out there that have cellular capabilities. All of that can now be integrated into HuntPro, which means I can go to your app and I'll be able to see what each camera is doing at any given time in the live feed.
Yeah, and
Yes,
if you think about it, sorry, John, you think about it, before you were opening a application per camera vendor, and you've got 5 apps you're having to open, you're getting alerts from 5. So this kind of pulls it all into one place where you've got one application to manage all those different vendors, and just makes it a much easier process.
Well, it's easier, it's cleaner, and it's a one-stop shop instead of checking 5 different cameras, which if you have a piece of property, I think that's a minimum of what you have on your property, scouting stands or places to put a stand. Now, this integration, I think, flows into our next topic, because this will actually help you in selecting a stand and indexing your stands, correct?
Yes. So, Chris, I want to touch on one thing on the integration piece, just from a practical standpoint. You have a property, a lease, a hunting club, whatever that is, and you mentioned that brand loyalty. It's no different than Toyota, GMC, Ford, Chevrolet, right?
Yep.
Everybody's got their preference. And so what we've been able to do is allow all of that stuff to coexist in one system. So all of our analytics, all of our weather, all of the predictions that we do are integrated that way. But just think of it from a couple of different practical things that we've seen happen is you can, if you're in your middle of your population study when you're doing this, you can eat the elephant one bite at a time. You don't have to look at every picture after you pull the SD card. The SD card process is proven. We've had that for years, and it's better than anybody else's out there. But then you think about, now I can do a few pictures in the evening every day for that time period. And then, hey, I just got on sale. I got on Black Friday and I bought Tacticam. Hey, I got on sale for Black Friday and I got Stealth. You go through the list and you just say, okay, how do I do that with everybody that's in my hunting club? And we can all see what we have there. We can get inventory. Everybody can see that stuff in one place. So there are just so many things that are better about that in that integration with being able to do it that way. So we're really excited about that feature. And then, I'll throw it back to Jonathan to talk about how the stand index works off of that. And one of the things we bring into that is the activity based on the cameras. So I'll let him go for that.
Touching on one more thing on the integration, it's not just the camera, it's the carrier.
All right.
So if you have AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, all of that is
Great point.
integrated depending on what your property permits.
Great point. Yes. You know, a lot of the manufacturers have dual band or dual provider stuff now, or can cover multiple providers. So your options really just get better and better as we go along.
That's really big news. And anybody who's been out at their club, or like me up in New York, you only get certain providers. You may have to have a burner phone just to service your cell cams.
Absolutely. And, you know, it really, you know, so you start thinking about how we predict. So with our hunt stand index, we predict, you know, what's the best location. You can choose a date and time. You say, I want to go hunting Friday. What's the best location for me to go based on the predicted weather, based on my historical patterns of pictures? And, you know, those models are only as good as the data. So if I'm basing it off of stale data that I uploaded from 2 weeks ago, you know, patterns change really quickly. Barometric pressure changes, weather patterns push in. I mean, right now we're going through a heat wave in February. It's 75 degrees in Georgia. 2 weeks ago, it was 10 degrees. You know, if I uploaded pictures from 2 weeks ago, my patterns have changed drastically. So having that real-time integration with all my different camera manufacturers, so that my models are then based off of when I go to predict, my models are now based off of pictures that I uploaded an hour ago. So I'm getting better predictions. They're based on current weather patterns. They're based on current animal patterns, and it really just makes the prediction of hunt stand index that much more accurate, and gives me a better estimate on where I should be hunting and where I should not be hunting.
So you can actually check your app before actually heading out into the field and say, well, I'm seeing, you know, better activity on this stand at this time. So you can switch up the morning of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When you look at our HuntPro index, we have a map, and when you look at the map, it color codes. You know, I can slide. There's a time slider. I can look at tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It color codes all of my stand locations. Some are green, some are yellow, some are red, and I can even look the morning of, and I can even look a couple of days out. I'm gonna hunt this weekend. Start trying to plan. Hey, I'm gonna hunt this stand. Maybe my kids are gonna hunt this other stand, and start trying to plan out. And you know, as we get closer and closer to the day of the hunt, you know, wind patterns change, weather patterns change. It's updating real time, so that those predictions are updating as the weather and as the deer patterns change as well.
So the data is actually broken down by location, by camera, and everything's cataloged accordingly.
Right. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. We
think of a group of hunters, or whether that's a family, whether it's a lease, whether it is a professionally guided hunting operation. What do you do every day, twice a day? You go, where am I going to put everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's after the morning hunt. Where's everybody going to hunt this evening? So we give you the power to be able to move that time slider and look at your entire property based on your preferred wind direction, if that matters to you, and then also from the activity of the animal based on your camera data off of those locations, or locations that are near your stands. However you have your scouting set up on those, and then you do the same thing after the evening hunt going into the next morning. So it's really something that centralizes that, or solves that problem of the old pin in the map and where's everybody going to be, and you can set rules around that stuff. But it's really something that we think is just a better way of doing that in general.
Well, this is actually a tremendous aid, not just to the everyday hunter who owns a piece of property or a hunting lease, but to a outfitter. You have new people coming in every week, and your reputation is based on success. I mean, it is what it is.
So, we even have a real world example where a property can, based on the wind direction, they can see their activity increase or decrease. So if they have hunters coming in and they have that bad wind for activity on their property, they need to think about that a little bit different from where they're going to hunt. They can, work around some expectations or those kinds of things. And then there are those times where activity is really high based on that wind direction for your property. So, and all the rules don't apply all the time in every location across all of the available hunting geography in the United States. So we give you that real local breakdown. And the longer you have HuntPro, the more you can see those things over time develop and really understand what's going on around there.
Well, anybody who's ever hunted with an outfitter, I mean, these guys work hard.
Very hard.
And they're up long before you guys are. They're doing their homework, doing their research. This takes a lot of the guesswork out for them, and I think increases success rate not everybody's going to shoot a deer on or whatever they're hunting on a guided hunt, but it increases the success rate of maybe filling a tag or seeing a lot of action.
You are right on the overall concept, or the driver that started HuntPro, back in the day, is looking through all of this data, trying to manage all of that stuff just for people personally. And then you move it out to an actual hunting operation, then you think about the time and effort that goes into that. They don't have extra time. Those guys are, they're out there hustling, just like you said. So this makes you as efficient as possible at the things you have to do every day, so that you can focus on your hunters and a great guest experience.
Yeah, not everybody has the luxury of spending the season in camp, and it might be a weekend here, a weekend there. This, kind of drills down on where they should hunt to increase their success.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think, as John said, that's kind of our origin story. I was running a software company, and you only get a few hours on the weekend to hunt. And, I had young sons at the time, and you want to make sure that, like you said, not that they actually get to kill something, but I want to put them in front of animals, make it exciting, and make them enjoy the hunt when you're trying to really introduce that to them. And so, kind of, I want to maximize that time and make sure that we're having a good hunt. And so, if I can put them in the right location where they're going to see animals, they're going to appreciate it, and really make it a fun time for them. I think that's the beauty of HuntPro, is making it where to some degree, you almost can spend less time hunting because you know where to hunt, when to hunt, and where the activity is. It's still hunting. The animals are always going to surprise you and do different things, but we're just trying to increase the odds of you having a great hunt.
Yeah, everyday life and jobs in general really puts a damper on having fun. Now, I think one of my favorite features of HuntPro is that you can actually catalog animals, specific deer you want to hunt, a bear you're looking for, or whatever other game is on your land. You're looking for that big buck. His patterns. Where he's going to be. They're creatures of habit as well.
Yeah, we have, and that feature came about through another real world use case where we had the need to, for population study, catalog unique bucks. And when you look at, how biologists would look at a herd and model that, it was like, okay, what's the best, most efficient way to look at a list of pictures, or a folder of pictures and then figure out which deer, name that deer, and how do you do those things and know that you've got the right count at the end of the day. So we just integrated all of that into HuntPro, and that ultimately led to the Buck ID feature. So when you're going through all of your pictures, you can go into the ID mode, name your animal, put point class, tags, notes, whether it has, if this is on your trophy list this year, if this is on the owners only list. There's all kinds of different stuff that you can do there. But the net of it is you're not doing that anywhere else. You just work through your pictures, set that feature. You're gonna click that button. It's gonna throw up the buck that you're looking for and let you go through all of your images to add that picture to that buck's profile. So think about it, at the end of it, you're going to have a Facebook type profile of all these pictures or all this catalog, and it's going to say you have 100 bucks, unique on your property. You can then set your harvest plan or your, whatever your management plan is for that stuff. As they come off the board, as hunters have success, you can mark those as, no longer out there walking around. And there's just a really lot of cool things you can do. And that solves that age old problem of having to either share those images of deer that you're supposed to shoot, supposed to pass on, whatever that is. And you don't have to maintain pictures or, the old laminated ring binder that you hand to the guide.
Yep.
The guide's not scrolling through his own personal pictures. All of those pictures might come from a different sailor camera for their source. They're all in HuntPro. They can see the ones that they're supposed to be, clearing for their guys to shoot. They can see the ones that they're not supposed to. So you just get a ton of just benefit from being able to see that stuff in the same system.
That's amazing. So you can actually name or number the bucks that you're looking to take that season and make a list, say, shoot a bucks, and you got A, B, C, and D. You know what they're going to be, where they're going to do, where their patterns. And then you have let it grow another year, 2 years. You could catalog them 2, 3, 4 years out and pattern them over time. That is crazy.
And we're doing.
I was just going to say, one cool thing
ahead,
about that is when you have the animals named like that, you can do some cool stuff like you can on your map, you can look at a heat map of a specific animal and see, okay, during the spring or during the summer, where is this animal moving? And then you can compare that to, okay, during fall rut, where does this animal move? And when you're looking at unique animals, you see some pretty amazing patterns. And we've learned stuff on our personal property that, some of these bucks don't move very far, just when they're feeding in the summer and getting, but come rut season, we're seeing these things move a mile, 2 miles sometimes and making circles. And you really get to learn a lot about your animals and learn about their behaviors when you can uniquely look at where an animal is traveling on property.
Well, getting off app, I found that if you give a deer a reason to stay on your property, they don't go very far. If there's a constant food source or water on your property, whether it be a food plot or a feeder or whatever, they're always going to stick around.
Right.
So, there's ways to assist keeping them on your property.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jonathan touched on one of the things I was going to mention there. A couple of other mechanics come in there. When you have a new deer show up, you just add him to your catalog during the middle of the season. You get to do that real time as you go along. You don't have to reprint anything. You don't have to, worry about sharing in a group text or anything like that with the people that are hunting on the property. So you just get the benefits just keep going of being able to do this stuff all in one place for one system that really looks at all of your camera data for that property. From what we have people report out, we've seen from our own personal use, you have that deer that doesn't move very far at all, even in rut. Then you have ones that are ranging all over the place and they're going by every camera you have on your property, and every hunter is seeing them in the stand moving around. But we have the ability to indicate that you saw that deer at that location, and now you get a full circle heat map like Jonathan was talking through. And you can look at that for the last 48 hours. You can look at it for the last month. You can look at it, in a different way than you would normally, just seeing it off the trail cameras and being able to just say, okay, on this date he was here, on this day this one was over here.
Yeah, it's also not uncommon to have a buck show up during rut that you've never seen on your property before.
Absolutely.
So that's another another way to catalog, the mystery buck. Now, you also have unlimited usage. Did I read that right?
Oh yeah. So the Hunt Pro subscription comes with as many mobile users as you want to have. They don't, there's no fee for that. The mobile apps are free on Android and iOS. So, regardless of the device you have, iPad, iPhone, any of the um, any of the Mac stuff that you have out there that that can run that stuff, we where that comes into play is like a hunting operation. They can send an invite based on an email invite and let their hunters that are coming on the property get that invite, install the app, start to see that. You can control the amount of access that those users have. So if I only want read only access for those people to be able to just see the buck catalog or the shoot, do not shoot list, and just see the map and the wind direction stuff on the property, you can do that. If it's something that's a little more entertainment based, or you're bringing clients out to show them a great time, you can give them a little more access to see those things. And really at any point in between, from a full administrative capability all the way down to just that read only user, and you get as many of those as you want.
Yeah. And if we make it really easy for, like, you think about like an outfitter, that mobile invite goes out when the user opens the mobile app for the first time. That outfitter can put their disclaimer in there, so they can go ahead and sign any legal waivers or anything that they want to get signed. Those automatically happen as soon as the user logs in. And as an outfitter, I can also set up that somebody's coming for a 4-day hunt. So at the end of 4 days, their account automatically disables. I don't have to think about going back and doing that. It just handles it as well.
Oh,
And
that's
then,
great.
yeah, and as an outfitter, I can even have, I can put people in stands and I can put them in locations, but sometimes people wander, right? Like they get out of property and start wandering off and doing, they get bored, whatever. Um, when they're in my geofence of my property and they have the mobile app open, as an outfitter, I can see where they're at. So if they get out of their stand and start wandering around, especially if they're walking toward another hunter or getting in the vicinity, so I can, from a safety feature, I can make sure they're not lost, but I can also make sure they're not going to get in the vicinity of somebody else where there's a danger of getting shot or interrupting somebody else's hunt. So it gives me a good way as an outfitter to keep an eye on my guys that are in the field and make sure they're all safe.
Well, as somebody who has guided, you'll always come across the clients that try to guide the guide.
Yes.
Here's your stand, stay in your stand, don't get out of your stand. We don't want you burning up the property. And of course, there's always those guys that know more that get out and they stalk the property.
There's no
and
way
they
you've seen
burn
somebody
the
do that.
property for the next clients.
Yeah, we when we have, whether it's Georgia, Texas, Alabama, regardless of where it is, you have those people that do it just right and go by the rules and do the things they're supposed to do, and then those that do not, we give you a way to monitor that situation, and we can kind of can see like where they've been on the property, and you get an actual map of where they've been. And it's pretty comical sometimes.
That's a tremendous aid, because you could give the person the warning. I told you to stay in your stand. You didn't. You do it again, you're gone. Don't come back.
Yeah. And it answers the question why you didn't see anything this morning.
Exactly. The guide does the work. They know where the pattern, they know where they're going to be, and they know better. It's like me coming to your house and saying, I don't think you should put the orange juice on the top shelf. I think it should be on the second shelf.
Yeah, and another thing that the guides can use that for, if they're having to put out multiple hunters in the morning, to get them to spots, they can also plan who rides with who based on where you put them in their stand locations the night before. You can get all of that organized, and everybody knows that ahead of time as well. So just another benefit that you get out of the system.
Well, I found that HuntPro is so data rich that really takes all the guesswork out of the hunt. I don't want to say it takes the fun out of the hunt. It actually enhances the experience. Um, what's next for Hunt Pro?
So we're spending we're enriching our AIs. So we're really trying to leverage some of the latest AI technology to start driving down into um, areas that it's hard to get humans to even agree on. Like how do you age bucks? How do you determine, is this a mature buck or is this a young buck? And then getting into scoring. We're going to take a kind of graduated approach to it. We're breaking them down into categories. So mature bucks, young bucks. We're not
Mm-hmm.
going to get down into, is this a 5.5-year-old buck or a 6.5-year-old buck? We're going to put them in categories to start with. And the same on sizing, putting them in, scoring groups, not down to specific scores, but, what I really want to make it easy for hunters that say, look, I'm looking to, look at all my bucks that are 8 point or greater, that are mature bucks, and make it really fast to find those type of data. Um, and then the other thing we're pushing into is other species. We started out kind of in the traditional, whitetail deer hunting. We've done a lot of work in turkey, and now we're pushing into AIs around duck hunting and predicting. You've got the
Wow.
same type of prediction for what's the best location based on,
Light
whether
patterns
it's the
and things like that.
tide or what water. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go on in duck hunting. And we're launching a new product called Quail Pro, which is all around quail hunting.
Wow, that's great. Now,
Yeah,
I think one of the toughest animals to gauge as far as aging it and knowing if it's a shooter or not is bear.
Mm,
People say, well, the size of the ears, but it's not really the size of the ears. The ears stay the same size. They grow into it. It's really the position of the ears. If they're on top or on the sides of the head, that's how I judge it, and
yeah.
whether their belly's dragging on the ground or not.
So we have we Hunt Pro. We do a lot for hunters, but we also work with a lot of conservation and state agencies. So we've had several large state agencies and universities use Hunt Pro for bear studies. So we've probably processed 10 to 15 million pictures through Hunt Pro looking for bear
Wow.
specifically in research studies with university and like state DNRs and Fish and Wildlife. So we've got a lot of experience with bear, probably more bear pictures than anybody else in the I was going to say in the industry, but even out in academia. So it is one of the fun parts of our job is not only are we hunters, we're also conservationists, and we're work with those guys to really help study those animals.
Well, getting back to aging deer, I see those social media posts where they post a picture of a deer and ask, "How old do you think this is?" And my
Yeah.
response is always the same. It's deer roast years old,
Yeah. People always ask me, can you teach the AI to do that? And I'm like, I can't get humans to agree on it. So if a human can't agree on things, it's tough to teach a computer to do it.
Hey, it's your tag. If you want to shoot it and it's legal, shoot it. Who
Yeah.
am I to judge?
yeah, and that's another important distinction for Hunt Pro too, is you can do as little or as much as you want to with the data that we present and the tools that we give you as well as a hunter. So, you don't have to be, going through every single picture that you get. You can do as much, you can, only catalog the unique bucks that are above 8 points if you want to. You can only, it's really flexible because Jonathan just went through like a really data intensive study where you got to right click through pictures if you don't have help for 7 or 8 million pictures to find 800 or 900 pictures of a bear. And no human is ever going to finish that task. Or if they do, it's going to be so much later than when the research study started that they don't even remember why they were doing it. So when you look at that, it's no different for how we let users, customize their or tailor their use of Hunt Pro based on their property needs, from small family places to the largest hunting operations that are out there.
Yeah.
That's great. It's really amazing how technology is changing the way we go out into the field and try to harvest a deer or an animal for our freezers.
Absolutely.
But we are definitely running out of time. And where can our followers find HuntPro?
Yeah, www.huntpro.app. We're also in the app stores for iOS and Android from that perspective. And then if you need to reach out to us, we've got contact info on the website as well. We'd love to hear from you, whether you're a hunter or a researcher or anything in between.
Here's a quick question for you. I download the app to my phone. How can I get those images on my computer? Can we download it to our computer as well?
Yeah, you'll need to get a license once you've got your subscription set up. It's going to let you set up your username and password, and then we've got help from either one of our people here on staff that can help you get stood up on that. And we've got a lot of tutorial videos as well inside the web portal.
Yeah, but you can access it from a web browser or from your phone. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, guys, I appreciate your time. Definitely go to huntpro.app, check it out. You really should have this in your arsenal for hunting. It's a tremendous aid. Don't forget to subscribe to American Outdoor News and our podcast as well. And we'll see you all again soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.